I'm Nick Boy, and this is Ask Pocket. Now I know what you're thinking. Nick, the background behind you is a lot less composited than usual. Well, the green screen studio was busy today, so we thought we'd shoot in the Pocket Den. But we did put the background up there, so you feel like not too much has changed. But I'm here to tell you everything's changed. All right, our first question comes from Big Whoop, who says, "Hey Nick Boy, a while ago my comment was replied to and I was wondering who reads the comments. Is it you, John? Is there a designated sultan of social media? Or is it whoever is working that day?" Hey Big Whoop, who reads the comments? We all do. We all crave your validation. We just want to be loved, especially John. As for who replied, if it was from the official Good Game account, it was probably Pete. I comment from my Nick Boy account and John mainly just lurks and posts things under false names to make people angry. Which is strange behavior for someone craving your love, but he's a complicated monkey. Next up, and Parallel Universe from San Francisco is demanding some answers in a huge question. After watching your Metal Gear Solid 5 first hour playthrough, I'm compelled to say something about this. Hey Parallel, look, I'm gonna stop you there because your question is huge. Now we've broken it up over several parts. So, part 1. Let me have it. 1. This is a Japanese game. Applying Western logic to it is kinda sad. Not everything has to make sense at the get-go. Alright, I know it's a Japanese game. I like many Japanese games. I love the Persona series, Danganronpa, and Castlevania, to name but a few. So I'm not saying it needs to conform to Western logic, I'm just saying that I'm going to be viewing it through a subjective lens. I'm not looking at games impartially. That video was my first impressions. So it's not Western logic, I'm going to be applying Nicky logic to it. Alright, keep the hits coming. 2. Nick Boy claims to have played previous Metal Gear Solid titles, and even if he hasn't, it is well known in the gaming world, let alone to a gaming journalist, that Kojima's style of game design and lengthy cutscenes and exposition is a take it or leave it feature. Repeatedly pointing this out and getting frustrated over it is kinda moot. First of all, I'm not a journalist, but yes, it's very well known that Kojima loves lengthy cutscenes and exposition, but just because it's a known quantity doesn't mean it's immune from criticism. I'm not gonna give the guy a free pass just because he has a style. I have a style. It's loud. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I'm gonna win! Suck it, John! Obnoxious? Probably is worth check.
My apologies.
Did you just sneeze? You, I can't work under these conditions. Oh, I'm trying to act here, okay? I don't give a what's going on with you. And kinda camp? Hey. Hey. You think it's a lady, but it's actually much better. And people hate on me for it all the time, including you in the next part of your question. But while Kojima certainly does have a strong voice and vision, the man is in desperate need of an editor. A convoluted story is fine, but a convoluted story poorly told is going to irritate me. That sequence would have been infinitely better, in my opinion, if it had just been 10 minutes long as opposed to an hour, and I don't think you would have lost anything other than lots of slow crawling. So if Kojima has made an hour of content he thinks is worth watching, then in turn that means it's an hour of content worth critiquing, and that's why we put the whole hour up on YouTube. When we cut that first hour down to a normal 10-minute length episode of Pocket, it just seemed like I was complaining about the length of something that seemed to zip along quite quickly. But that was because of the editing magic of John, ladies and gentlemen. So we put the full hour up so you could see why I was getting so frustrated. Incidentally, Kojima, if you want to borrow John, ladies and gentlemen, I think he could really help you out. All right, unleash Parallel upon me again. 3. I know you need to ham it up for the cameras, Nick Boy, and I do enjoy watching Pocket daily, but your reactions became quite annoying to the point of being really mean, and I really liked you. Well, I can't really be mean to a video game because it doesn't have feelings, but I do hope you still like me, because as we established earlier in this episode, I crave your validation. 4. I'm a firm believer that video games are an art form. As a poignant art piece, its purpose is to make you think, feel, react, be it good or bad. But calling it, and I quote, in capital letters, horrible in the title is just nasty, be it clickbait or not. Look, I completely agree that video games are art, but if you take that approach, then you also know that art is subjective, so my opinion is just as valid as yours. And art is designed to provoke a reaction. And my reaction to the first hour of that game? It's horrible. It's boring, it's repetitive, it's poorly designed, it's bloated, and it's sexist. And art can be horrible. There's a bunch of horrible art out there. Have you seen this? Waste of taxpayer money. Also, if this is the first shot Kojima chooses to put in his art, then I'm going to hold him to a higher standard, because that's just exploitative and had absolutely no bearing on the rest of your story. Was he allowed to put it in his game? Of course, it's his artwork. Am I allowed to not enjoy it? Yes, and I didn't. Alright, Parallel, bring us home. 5. I'm not even a Kojima fanboy. I just appreciate his intentions to do things differently regardless of a successful outcome. Can Nick Boy or Pierreth not see that? I expected better from Pocket. We all expected better from Pocket, and we can appreciate intentions to do things differently. But I feel like, again, you don't get a pass just for trying. In fact, I feel like Kojima isn't even trying. The hardest part of any art is restraint and finding the best way to tell your story. Kojima has a kitchen sink approach that isn't new. It's actually, in my opinion, lazy storytelling. It feels like a student film where the writer hasn't learned how to edit themselves yet. There's a reason most stories aren't told like this. It's not a good way to tell a story. But as for the rest of the game, I'm enjoying it massively. I think the gameplay is almost perfect. I adore it. But the storytelling still doesn't hit the right chord for me. Big Boss doesn't seem like a leader, the exposition is clunky and repetitive, and the choices Kojima has made with the quiet character are downright repugnant. But all of that said, it's cool that you like Kojima's storytelling. Obviously, a huge amount of people do, which is why he's been afforded the opportunity to continue the series for so long. So I'm sorry you didn't enjoy my first impression of Metal Gear Solid 5, but Pocket is my art, and I am its Kojima, so take it or leave it. But seriously, thank you very much for writing in, Parallel, and I hope you continue to watch, if only for the fact that we really need international viewers. Alright, our final question comes in from Corrupted, who is about to make a huge mistake. Hello, Nick Boy. I'm a massive fan of you and GG Pocket, and I'm a big fan of your hair. What do you tell your barber how to do it because I want to copy it? What's your hair secret? Just tell the hairdresser not to anger it, Corrupted. It can hear your thoughts. Other than that, the key is just to sort of constantly touch it all the time. Alright, that's it for today's episode of Ask Pocket. If you have a question for Ask Pocket, then you can send it in here, or you can tweet me here with the hashtag here. Until tomorrow, Nick Boy out.